You hear that? My husband. He's home for today, which is nice, but the garage is right next to where I'm filming. Like, it shares the same wall. So yeah, that's his really loud Mustang, like really loud. Hey guys, it's Sarah. Okay, I have a book haul today. I know. I just posted a video talking about tackling my TBR and I have too many books and blah, 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 blah. These books are included in that number, so I just haven't hauled them yet. That's totally my excuse and I'm sticking to it. These are books I've been slowly collecting over the past couple of months, and I didn't show them because, you know, we were getting ready to do our Advent thing and I didn't want to have like a big, huge book haul before that. I waited till after the Advent thing was done. Does that make sense? I don't really know. Okay. I have 27 books to talk about. So I'm not going to go into super great detail. I'll tell you a little bit about them. And then, yeah, that's it. But it's a lot. Okay. So we will start with ARCs that have been sent my way by publishers. I have been very lucky where I have gotten quite a few ARCs that are coming out in 2019, and just I'm very grateful for them. And you will be seeing review videos for all of these because I'm going to be on top of my game in 2019. All right, so the first one is In Dog We Trust by Beth Kendrick, and this was sent to me by Berkeley. And this one I've actually already read, so I will be having a review coming up the second week of January. This one comes out January 8th. And this follows a woman who ends up kind of finding herself mixed in with this aging or older man, like very, very much older. And he has Labrador retrievers that are like show dogs, and he needs help with them. You know, he has a handler, he has a trainer and everything, but he needs someone like to let them play and run, and kind of like a dog babysitter almost. She ends up becoming that for him. He dies one day and leaves everything to her. Actually, he leaves everything to the dogs. And then she is the sole beneficiary on the dog's behalf. So it's very tricky. And she ends up finding herself kind of thrown into the middle of all this stuff and battles, and the trainer thinks she deserves things and his family thinks they deserve things, and she's kind of caught up in all this. So yeah, I've already read it, so look out for my review coming up here soon. But yeah, so thank you, Berkeley. Okay, so this next one was sent to me by Putnam, and that is The Paragon Hotel by Lindsay Fay. Lindsay Fay is the author of Jane Steele, which is a book that I read and absolutely loved. And so I was very excited when she was having a new one come out. And when they contacted me, I immediately said yes. And this one follows a young girl named Alice, and this is set, I believe, in the early 1900s. And she is kind of part of the mafia situation in Harlem. She finds herself shot and on the run, basically. And she boards a train and is trying to make her way to as far away as she can get. She ends up in Portland, Oregon. There is a Black man who is kind of a servant, I guess you could say, on the train, and he's kind of her butler. And he realizes she's in trouble. She needs help. She's all by herself, and he takes her to the Paragon Hotel, which is a predominantly Black community living in Portland. And back then, and apparently this is true, back then, Black people were not welcome to live freely in Oregon at all. And so they kind of have to keep things under wraps a little bit. And so she's experiencing, you know, being around this community of people who are, you know, just so incredibly segregated and so incredibly, you know, pushed back on. And I'm sure she's going to build amazing relationships with them and, you know, kind of see that battle. So I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I'm not too far into it yet, but I've been really enjoying it. So this comes out on January 8th as well. I said I wasn't going to go into detail, and I've been going into detail. Okay. Next one comes out in January 2, and I got this one from Wednesday Books, and that is The Gilded Wall by Roshani Chachki. And I am so excited about this one. This one takes place in Paris, in a really long time ago. I can't remember exactly what year, but it's like a historical fiction set in Paris, and I believe it's a fantasy as well. I don't know much, but I don't care. I'm very excited to read something by her finally, and I was very excited to get a copy of it. Speaking of Paris, this next one comes out in February, and that is Shantae by Gita Trelease, and this one was sent to me by Flatiron Books, and this one, again, takes place in Paris, and I don't remember a whole lot. I believe this is a fantasy, though, as well, I think. Yeah. I don't know a lot, but I'm excited, and I'm kind of realizing I have a lot of things that are based in Paris that I'm going to be reading soon, so that's exciting. But yeah, I just don't remember a whole lot about what this is, but I believe it follows like the French Revolution and the Palace of Versailles. Is that how you say that? Is prevalent in here, so kind of that time frame. So yeah, I'm excited. We'll see how it is when I read it. This next one was sent to me by Entangled Teen, and I'm very excited about it. This is The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, and this one comes out in February as well, end of February. And this one follows a person in the military, a man, and he has a best friend who's deployed with him. His best friend ends up writing letters back and forth to his sister, and I think it's kind of like it's like a pen pal type thing where they're writing letters back and forth, but they don't know each other's identity. It's one of those things. So I'm not exactly sure how all that's going to get started or how that's going to happen. But the brother dies in battle. So his best friend, who's been writing his sister, has decided, I'm going to go and make sure she's okay. But she doesn't know who he is. It's like one of those things. I am so excited to read this. This literally came with a pack of tissues, like a little pack of tissues came in the box. And I was like, that's not a good sign. I'm going to keep those handy when I do read this. But this comes out end of February, and I'm super excited to read it. Right, and this next one comes out in March, and it was just sent to me by Harper Voyager, and that is The Deepest Blue by Sarah Beth Durst. And this is part of her Renthia world. So she wrote a trilogy called The Queens of Renthia. It's the Queen of Blood, the Reluctant Queen, and the Queen of Sorrow, I believe, are the trilogies. I have that trilogy in my bedroom. Have I read them? No. However, I've been hearing recently a lot of really good things about that trilogy, and I'm like, oh, why am I not picking this up? What's wrong with me? So this one is set in the same world, and it follows an island that is part of this world, but this can be read as a standalone, and that's what the sell sheet kind of said, like, you know, this can be read as a standalone. You don't have to read the trilogy to enjoy it. I don't know which way I'm going to go yet, if I'm going to read this first or if I'm going to try to read the trilogy first. I guess it'll just depend. If it starts getting close to March and I haven't read the trilogy, I'll just jump into this one. But I do like that I have the option, and this cover is so beautiful, isn't it? So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some books that I have received as gifts, and I have 4 books here that I have been gifted recently. I'm very grateful. The first one is Hatchet by Gary Paulson. This is one that my mom gave me, and it's teeny tiny, and the writing is kind of teeny tiny in here as well. But this is on the Great American Reads list, so she knew I wanted to read it, and I just have never read it. And this follows a young boy who, he's 13, and he is flying a plane over the Canadian wilderness. I'm not sure how he got there, where a 13-year-old's flying a plane, but it crashes and he's stranded and he has to survive in the wilderness by himself. And he has a hatchet. And I've heard amazing things, and it's on the Great American Reads, so this will definitely be read in 2019 for sure. Okay, so the next 2 were a complete surprise to me. They came in an Amazon box together, and I was like, I didn't order anything. What is it? What is in here? And I open it, and it's 2 books that I have been big time eyeing, and they were from a subscriber. And my heart was just so full when I saw this. I was shocked. I really was. And I tried to thank her properly. I hope I did. I put it on Instagram, and then I actually, she sent like little gift receipts with a little message on it for each one. So when that happens, you have the option on Amazon to send like a thank you email back, kind of like letting them know that you received it and thank you. And so I did that for her. So I hope she got it. It's not a thing I can track. So I hope she got it. So Jenna, if you're watching, I hope you got that. But she sent me The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Eilington. And this is the first book in the Licanius trilogy. But she said like this has become one of her favorite trilogies, and she absolutely loved it. So I've heard really good things about this. I'm excited to read it. It is a big book, you guys. This is so big, but I'm learning not to be scared of the sizes of books. It doesn't matter. As long as what is in here is entertaining, you're going to be good. And I've heard that. So very excited about it. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you so much. In that same package, Jenna also sent me one that I am so excited to read, and that's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I have been so looking forward to reading this. I have heard such amazing things about this book from people who love fantasy, and I cannot wait. I have heard that this is brutal, which is my jam, and I'm just so excited. And it involves a girl like learning to be an assassin and going into training and stuff, and that is like buzzwords for me, for sure. Any book that I've ever read that involves either a magic school or an assassin school, like I'm in. If it's a school setting, I'm in. Like that's just it. And this has been big time on my radar since it came out. And she sent it to me and I was just so excited and so happy. So Jenna, seriously, like I'm going to be thanking you forever. Like, thank you so much. And then I got another package from a very sweet subscriber. She's one of my newer subscribers actually. And she sent me an email and said, I would like to send you a Christmas gift. And I was like, you don't have to do that. She said, I know. What's your address? I was like, okay. So, Teresa, we've already spoken. Thank you so much. But she sent me Too Late by Colleen Hoover. Yes. I'm sorry, C. Hoover, technically, which is what her name is on here. And she did C. Hoover instead of Colleen Hoover because this is supposed to be very, very different from her normal contemporary books. I've heard amazing things about it. I cannot wait to read it. I really want to do a Colleen Hoover author spotlight on my channel, but I need to read a little bit more first. And this is definitely on the docket for that because it's going to be something very different and I want to be able to speak about it. So hopefully sometime in the next couple months, I will be able to do that. But Teresa, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're going to move into books that I purchased myself. I have two different stacks. Some of them are Goodwill, not a ton, but a lot of these are just books that I got at random different places. So I kind of tried to stack them in like where I got them. Okay, so speaking of Colleen Hoover, I got Verity, which is her brand new release. This just got released in early December, and I got this off of Amazon, and I got it the second it was available. Now, funny story, I also have the ebook of this, and I pre-ordered that because when she announced that this was coming, it was only supposed to be in ebook form at first. So I pre-ordered it. I was like, yes, it's Colleen. I'm going to read it. I'm so excited. So I got the ebook when it was released. And then a couple days later, she said, oh, the paperbacks are available. And I was like, okay. And I got the paperback too, because I have to, because it's Colleen and she's one of my favorites. And she's an auto-buy author for me. And I bought it twice. So yeah. But this is like one of those velvety covers. Oh, it feels so good. And the cover is beautiful. So I don't mind that. And it's going to live on my Colleen Hoover area of my bookshelf, and I'm so excited. This is a psychological thriller. Who knew Colleen could do that, right? This is going to be coming up very soon. I definitely plan to read this and be able to talk about it in my Colleen Hoover Spotlight video. So I have a little bit of reading to do before I can do that, but I really want to. That's a big goal of mine to do that on my channel this year. So yeah, but I've heard that this is so messed up and I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. Another one that I got off Amazon is one that I think I got it used. I'm pretty sure this is a used copy. And that is Malice by John Gwynne. And this is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen. I don't know if it's a trilogy or I think it's a series. It's more than 3. I've heard very, very good things about this fantasy series. A lot of people who read a lot of fantasy have just been raving about it. I don't know too much, but I don't want to go in knowing too much. I believe it is kind of like a historical thing. If you can see, there's like armor back here and everything. So I'm excited to read it. It's a little bit intimidating because it is ginormous. All the books in the series are this size, so it's a big like undertaking. But yeah, so I'm only getting the first one. I'm not getting the other ones right now. I'm going to read this first one and see what I think first before I invest in the other ones. But I do at least have the first one, and I definitely want to give it a try. All right, let's talk about books from Books A Million. All of these books are from their bargain section, which is a dangerous place for Sarah to be, because these books can range from $3.97, sometimes can get up to like $6 or $7, but it's somewhere in that range, super cheap for, amazing books. So the first one I got, Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have not read anything by this author yet. I have his entire Unwind series. I have this. And I haven't read anything by him yet. And I really, really want to, especially this one. I have heard such amazing things about this series from people who read all sorts of stuff, are just absolutely loving it. And 2 of them are out, and I believe the third one is supposed to come out sometime this year. I don't think there's a release date for it yet, but it's the expectation that it's coming out sometime this year. And I would like to read it. Yeah. So I picked it up like real quick when I saw it for $3.97. Another bargain book I picked up is by Chevy Stevens, which is an author who I really want to get more into. And this is Never Let You Go. And I believe this one follows an abusive relationship. And it's going to be a thriller, and it's going to be suspenseful, I'm sure. But I have really enjoyed Those Girls by her. It was actually one of my top books this year. So I definitely want to read more from her. I'm kind of like collecting her books a little bit, so I need to start reading them. Like no more until I start reading them. But this was definitely, I grabbed this while it was cheap. This next one, I picked up 2 books by this author, and I picked this up because it was $3.97, like $3.97 right there. And I picked it up because I knew I had another book by this author that's part of this series. And I feel like it's something I'm going to really enjoy. But I have 2 books, and they're not the first one in the series. So I got to kind of figure out what's the first one and maybe get those from the library and kind of work my way through this series, because it is a detective series from what I'm understanding. But I got The Killing Forest, and this is by Sarah Bladel. I've heard good things about Sarah Bladel, and that's what made me pick up this one. And then I have another one in there on my shelves that I just don't know which number they are in the series, but I do believe they go together. So I got to do my research and figure it out. Probably sooner rather than later because I have them. But yeah, $3.97, I picked it up. The last one that I picked up at Books A Million, I got for $5.97, and that is Victoria. This is by Daisy Goodwin. And I've read one book by her. I read American Heiress, and that one for me was a 3-star. It was fine, but I want to give more, like a bigger shot to Daisy Goodwin. And so I figured I would pick this one up, and I believe it follows Queen Victoria from what I'm understanding. Yeah, she's the Queen of England, so Queen Victoria. And it's a historical fiction, obviously. And then I have another one by her that I would like to read eventually. But yeah, like $5.97, I went and picked it up. It's a beautiful, gorgeous copy of a book. So I want to give her another shot, though, for sure. All right, so these next 3 books I got at Ollie's, which is kind of a discount superstore, I guess you could say. And it is a chain. Actually, I've had quite a few people when I've talked about Ollie's, they're like, oh, I have one of those. Yeah, they have a book section. It's completely unorganized. It's organized in that they have it in sections. There's like, fiction and religious and kids and, cookbooks and stuff like that. But it's not alphabetical order by any means. And they're all just kind of like shoved in there. So it's kind of, you got to go on a little hunt. And you got to go through all the books and figure out what you want. But I did find a few gems. This first one is Peony in Love, and this is by Lisa C. And Lisa C. wrote Snowflower and the Secret Fan, which I absolutely loved last year. And so I wanted to read some more from her for sure. And I got this for $2.99. So yeah, I don't think I'll pick up any more physically until I read this one or read some more from her just in general. But for super cheap, I went ahead and grabbed it. This next one I got for $1.99, and it's a hardcover. and that is Valiant by Leslie Livingston. And this follows female gladiators. And that was kind of all I needed to know about this. This has been on my radar for a while. I actually checked it out from the library when we lived in New Mexico, but I didn't have time to get to it, so I had to take it back. But it's definitely something I'm interested in, and I've heard good things about it. So I figured I'd go ahead and pick it up. I know there's a second book in this as well. I don't know if there's going to be more or not, but I know there is a sequel at least. So, yeah, but I mean, $1.99 hardcover. I grabbed it. Okay, so this next one. Okay. This is one of those things that's kind of similar to Zenith where like it hasn't been getting the best reviews, but I'm still interested. Like I'm still interested in this book. Oh, so I got The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. It's a huge floppy paperback, like my favorite. Now this has multiple books in it. I know there's at least 3. And from what I'm understanding, in this one, we follow this girl. I don't know her name, but we follow her and her situation. And then in the following books, it's kind of the same situation, but you're following different characters. I'm not interested in that, but I'm interested in this one. So it would be one of those things where I read this and then I would be good. Something about it intrigues me, and I don't know what it is. I know it hasn't been getting the best reviews. A lot of people have not really been liking it or don't understand the point or whatever. That's fine. But I'm still interested enough that, you know, I paid $1.99 for it. And yeah, I don't know what it is that pulls me to this, but something does. So I grabbed it. Okay, all the rest of these books were just from completely different random places. So, oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so happy about this. Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So this is book number 2 in, is it the Strange the Dreamer duology, I guess is what you would call it. It's only a duology. So it's Strange the Dreamer and this one, and then that's it. So I had to get it. I had to get the UK hardcover because that's what Strange the Dreamer is in, and they are so stunning. I actually don't like the US covers for these. Like, I don't even like them. But these are so gorgeous. I'm so excited. Oh, I can't. Okay. I'm going to be reading this very soon because I really want to continue on. I want to know what's happening. The first couple of months of this year, this one will be read for sure. And it's just, these are probably the most stunning books I've ever seen. They are so gorgeous. All right. So this next one I picked up in the book section at the BX on base one day. I don't know. I was like, yeah, I want to read that. I'll grab it. I don't know what I was doing. I Know You Know by Jillian McMillan. Now, I have read one by her. I read The Perfect Girl. Yeah. And it was fine. It was like a 3-star for me. But I've heard really good things about this author, and I enjoyed it enough that I'm still interested in reading more of her work. And I've heard better things about some of her other books. So I went ahead and picked this up, and we'll see what I think. But I now have 2 other books from her, including this one. So I do need to read more before I buy anything else and decide if she's going to be an author for me. But she's definitely one that I'm still intrigued by and I want to read more from. This next one I picked up at Sam's while I was shopping there one day, and it shocked me to see it because this is a book that's been on my radar for a very long time, and I've wanted to read it. And I think they just re-released it in like a new cover, and they're kind of re-releasing it for some reason. I don't really know why. I don't know if there's an anniversary coming up or something. I have no clue. But The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. So this is a very old book. It's kind of a true crime classic type of book, but this follows the inside story of serial killer Ted Bundy. And Anne Rule actually knew him. She worked with him before he became infamous. And so I think she's telling her story about meeting him, knowing him, his personality, and then he becomes Ted Bundy and you find out what he really was like. And I think this goes through the whole thing. I've heard very good things about it. It's very highly recommended in the true crime genre. And it's just always something I've been wanting to read. And I want to read more true crime this year. So hopefully I can probably get to this one this year sometime. It is a pretty big chunk of a book. I was surprised when I picked it up. But yeah, so I grabbed it. This next one I picked up at Target. And it's one that has caught my eye recently. And I've been intrigued by it. So this is The Room on Rue Emily. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, by Kristen Harmel. And this is a historical fiction set in Paris. That's all I really know about it. It happens in 1939, and I'm going to go with it and let that be it. Another Paris book here. So I'm interested in reading this for sure, and I just really want to get into some more historical fiction, and this just caught my eye, and I've kind of seen it going around, so I grabbed it. Okay, so this next one I found at a Salvation Army store, which I did not know we had one until I drove by it, and then I quickly did a U-turn and went inside to see if they had a book section, and they did. They had a pretty large one, so I grabbed one book there, and I got Year One by Nora Roberts. So this is the first book in a new series by her, and I've heard really, really good things about it. I think it's a fantasy, from what I'm understanding. I know that Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library has read this, and she really enjoyed it. So I'm excited. It's book number 1. I'm going to give it a try, see what I think. I think book number 2 just came out recently, like in December, I want to say. But yeah, I've never read anything by Nora Roberts, and just based on the amount of good things I've heard about this one, I'm interested. This next one, you guys, I was so excited about. I paid a pretty penny for this one, but I think it was worth it because I wanted a very specific edition of it, and I could not find it anywhere except on eBay. So I got it on eBay. But If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, I have a feeling I'm going to love this book. I have heard nothing but amazing things about it. Like, it's ridiculous. And I wanted this oversized paperback. I wanted this one so bad. The only options on Amazon were the American edition paperbacks, and I do not like the cover of those. So I didn't want that one. I wanted this oversized one with the skull. Like, I wanted the skull on my book. And I got it on eBay. It came from Australia. Like, that's just how I had to go. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with that. It's fine. Definitely the most expensive book on my list, though. And like, honestly, I don't even care. Like, it's so beautiful, and I love, it's my favorite size. It's floppy, like, worth it to me. Worth it to me. All right, 3 more books, guys. We're almost done. Okay, so these last 3 I got at Goodwill. And the first one is Every Last Lie by Mary Kubica. And I have not read anything by her yet, but I now have 2 books of hers because I did get one also from Lindsay in our Advent book exchange. And then I saw this one and I was like, you know, that kind of reminded me that I want to read this author. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And I did. And I got it for, I think it was $2.99 or something. But yeah, I'm excited. And then I got another thriller book from an author that I now have 2 books by, and I haven't read her yet, but I need to. This is The Perfect Stranger by Megan Miranda. I've heard good things about her books and that she writes really good thrillers. So I have this one and another one, and I need to read some now before I get anything else. Everything's fine, but I was excited to find it. Hey guys, I have a few more. All right, so I filmed part of this when I was pre-filming for Christmas because we were going out of town, and I just wasn't expecting to get more books, but I did. I got some gifts. Yep, these are all books that were gifted to me. So let's talk about that. Some of these were Christmas gifts. Some of them were just, you know, passing along type thing. So real quick. All right, this first one is actually a review book, and I got it from Clean Team Publishing, and they sent me The Vikings Captive by Quinn Loftus. This is the second book in a Viking series that I started last year. They sent me an arc of the first one, and I really, really enjoyed it. I actually still have it right here. It's The Vikings Chosen. And they sent me The Vikings Captive, which is number 2. And I was really happy when they reached out because I wanted to read this and I knew it was going to be coming out sometime in 2018. And this has actually already been released, and they were just a little bit behind on sending out review books. So I don't have like, you know, a huge commitment to read and review it, but I do want to sometime in the first half of the year. So I will definitely be getting to this at some point quickly, but I really enjoyed it. It's a really good, just like YA Viking type thing, and I'm excited to see where it will go. And this next one is from a subscriber, and she sent me a message and asked if I would do a kind of a blind date with a book exchange with her type thing. And I was like, absolutely. So we did that, and I sent her a book, and then she sent me a book in return. And she sent me The Girlfriend. This is by Michelle Francis. I have never heard of this book, which is awesome, but this is a thriller. And the tagline says, she loves your son, she wants your life. So this is probably going to be a crazy girlfriend trying to infiltrate this family through the son. And I'm excited to read it. So Lindy, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to read it. And Lindy has a channel as well, so I will leave her channel link down below if you're interested. This next one, you guys. Okay. So this was a surprise. I did not know this was coming. And I came back from Christmas break and it was sitting there waiting for me. And I almost cried. Because I talked about this in, was it my giving tag maybe, about like, this is probably number one on my list that I want to read. And then she sent it to me and I was like, what? Oh, all right. So one of my subscribers, Karis, sent me Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I am so excited to read this. I think this will be a middle grade March book for me, for sure, like number one. I do plan to do middle grade March this year. I want to read more middle grade. And middle grade March is something that Krista from Books and Jams did last year. And I tried to follow along a little bit. I didn't read too much, as much as I wanted to. So this year, like March is middle grade and I'm so excited about it. And this will probably be number one on my list to read because I've heard just such amazing things about it. And I'm totally down. And just, Karis, seriously, thank you so much. We've already talked, but my mind was blown. So thank you. This next one is a Christmas gift that I got from my sister, and she got me Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This is about to be a television series. I want to say, is it Amazon streaming, maybe something like that? But this is like angels and demons, I think, who are being forced to work together for some sort of reason. I can't remember, but the previews for the show look so funny. It's supposed to be very comical, and I do love Neil Gaiman, and I want to read more from him for sure, and this is one of her favorite books of all time. So she said, here, read this, and I was like, okay. And these next four, and the last, I promise, are books that my sister-in-law actually gave to me. She recently moved to Japan, and then she left behind a few things for us that they just weren't taking with them, and she left me a little pile of books, so I grabbed what I was interested in. And this first one is called Rule, and it's by Jay Crownover. And it says it's a marked men novel, so I'm guessing this is like probably a companion series following, certain people or whatever, but this can also be read as a standalone, so I definitely plan to do that. But this is just supposed to be like a contemporary, they shouldn't be attracted to each other, but they are, and they're total opposites, but they love each other, and blah, 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 blah. So could be a fun, smutty contemporary read, so I grabbed it. This next one is kind of in the same veins as it's going to be kind of like a smutty contemporary, and that is Ready to Fall. And this is by Daisy Prescott, and this is called a wingman novel. So again, it's probably, certain types of characters, and it's kind of like a companion series type thing, but they can all be read as standalone. So I do enjoy those on occasion. And this one follows a lumberjack. So sure, I'm into that. This next one I grabbed because it's an author that I haven't read anything from yet, but she does have quite a few books, and I've always been a little bit interested, and I just kind of need to read one to see. But I picked up Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. So I just figured, it was in the box. I'll grab it and see what I think of Lauren and her writing. I just haven't read anything by her yet, but she has enough out that I'm intrigued to give her writing a try. So we will see. Okay, so this last one was in the box from my sister-in-law, and I was like, what? Because this book was actually recommended to me by one of you guys on our next, our 5-star predictions from our subscribers type thing. So it didn't make the top 5. It was kind of further down the list, but it was on there, and I, have a record of it. So when I saw it, I was like, perfect. So that is Rhythm, Chord, and Malikan. And this is by Marina Zapata. Now, this is kind of a band book, BAND book. And it follows a girl whose brother is in a band, and he's going on this national or international tour and invites her to come along as one of the merch girls. So she is in charge of, keeping track of the merchandise and selling it at the concerts and all that stuff. So she goes, and I believe there's chemistry between her and one of the other band leaders from another band who's on the tour with them as well. So this was recommended to me as someone thinks I will give it 5 stars. So I thought that was pretty awesome that it was sitting there. So I grabbed it, and I will read it at some point for sure. Okay, so those are some Christmas books that I got over the holidays that I wasn't expecting, but back to what I was saying before. And the last one that I found is one that I've been hearing about for a couple of years now, and I just had never picked up, but I definitely heard really good things about it. And that's Did You Ever Have a Family? And this is by Bill Clegg. I think, was this shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize maybe? I want to say it was at some point. I'll have to do some research into that. But I found an autographed copy. So autographed at Goodwill. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up for $1.99. Thank you very much. And it's an autographed copy. Thank you. I will take that. But this is like a family drama, I believe, or literary fiction type of book. And it's actually not too long. But I'll do some research and see if it was nominated for something. I want to say it was, and that's why I heard about it. So yeah, but autographed copy, Goodwill, I will take it. Guys, that's it. That is my end of the year book haul. And as you guys know, I'm going to be taking a much different approach this year with my book buying habits. So I'm hoping my next book haul is going to be very small. But that's going to be it for 2018 for my book hauls. I'm completely done. And from here on out, things are going to change. I'm going to really hopefully just not be hauling a lot of books. You may see some good library hauls from me, so be on the lookout for that. That's what I plan. Like, it would be nice to have library hauls instead of hauls that are coming into my house and then staying for 10 years and not getting read type thing. So, yep. All right, that is it. Let me know down below if you guys have read any of these books. Let me know if I should get any of them read sooner rather than later. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.